chalet and let Bank through instead. I mean, we didn't actually go through the map ban, but there was nowhere really for Cruelty to go. Looking at it, it wasn't looking very good for them at all. So they've ended up on a Bank, and well, we'll just have to see how they can play it through. I noticed an Osaban coming in there. Oster, of course, having a lot of value on this map. Plenty of window play and plenty of ways to be, exploiting that shield, setting up those power positions, getting into those crossfires. But we are going to be in the game now. We're going to be starting off down on the basement. BDS is going to be kicking things off.
Believe it or not, as much as what we were kind of discussing, that maybe there won't be as much information on Cruelty as what BDS was like. Cruelty actually played this map 3 weeks ago during the Element 3 tournament, and they lost it. So you can already see that BDS have a loss that they can vouch for you and see the weaknesses that were actually exploited. So I think for Cruelty, they'll need to be careful. Obviously we know BDS, they have a great kind of backline staff who will obviously support the side and anything that they can do. Think about Eagle, for example, the backline. We know there with the the stats, and laptops, and everything in between. So yeah, I think right now for BDS, again, map favors them. Just the overall matchup favors them. I think for BDS, more than anything, it's about how well can they actually put on a show and kind of set the marker down for every other team in the competition.
They're the team that everyone's looking to right now. They've set the pace. You guys have been out here. You've done it before. They're going to be a team that have probably had people contacting them going, what's it like, and all this sort of stuff. And that's going to be a big thing. Leaky Fac, business as usual here, out there on their own. Users, he's getting involved. It's always a troublesome time if Users is getting involved in one of those opening picks, because he's typically someone that will play the side, a little bit more of a lurker sort of role. He's rocking the Cade now. You look to him for clutch last minute moments. You don't really look to him for opening picks or second opening picks, but he's been getting involved there. And it has cost Cruelty. They've lost the book and they've lost the Twitch right now, so dealing with those electronics and canisters is going to be a little bit more troublesome. And you do, of course, have the Vulcan shields to go through.
Clockwork, the way BDS have played that. Obviously, they've started off with that extension in towards open area. They've went for that roam game. They've got their 2 opening picks. And immediately, they're like, okay, now we just come back to site and anchor. And it's a 5v3 on site. We have Goyo canisters, smokes, a few C4s in there as well. It's as easy as you like. Whenever you don't have manpower for the kind of basement executes we see on multiple sites, you think about Bank, you think about Oregon, you think about Clubhouse. It's that situation where you just need to have an extra man to put pressure somewhere else. And you just don't have that. Look at the positions right now for Cruelty. All 3 of them on the hatches. That is it. There's no other place that they're actually pressuring. No garage, nobody in towards server. They're just going to try and YOLO it.
Attackers have dropped the bomb.
Well, they've done the Dokkaebi call. Users has picked himself up a second kill. The canisters not doing too much to give Cruelty that ease of access. The plant will start to go down now, though. It is going to be covered, but it isn't enough. Pyrox is only able to grab 1 in the midst of that. Other than that, a flawless round for BDS.
Yeah, very, very simple. Again, for that basement, there usually is a kind of systematic step that you have to go through. I would say Cruelty missed about 4 of those steps. Usually step 1, it's make sure you have control of hatches, so clear open area, fight the roamers. They didn't do that. They lost their opening engagements. Step 2 then is get server control. They kind of had server control, but then the issue was they just didn't have really the hard breach to open up the walls. And that's what they struggle with. And then finally 4th is have somebody backstab in through that garage to create that cross section so it stops the defenders trying to retake in towards server. And Cruelty just tried to drop the hatch. They didn't put any pressure in server. They didn't put any pressure in garage. And it's just so easy then for BDS to stack up around each other and just trade off the kills back and forth because they had that early man advantage.
BDS going to be upstairs now.
I heard a scream. Did you hear that
area.
scream? Did the stream hear a scream?
5 seconds to go.
I'm not entirely sure what it was.
I'll predict
I'll be honest
it was
with
an
you.
SSG. Has to be. What other
Very
team
possibly.
screams like that after round
Very
1?
possibly. But where's it
Well,
coming
they
from?
must be beside each
Well, okay. It's not coming from Riyadh.
Reloading.
I'm a little bit
true.
far away from there. I don't think the sound will
Well,
travel.
technology this day. People said you couldn't put men on the moon, and look at that.
Pretty direct approach so far from Cruelty. They've got themselves that copy window open. It is a key position to try and hold and limit that flexibility in the site. BDS currently quite tucked here. And I guess just sort of banking on a bit of a slow roam clear here.
I do like the setup.
I want the Monty stacked up on the door, so there's a chance for this Monty to
like
walk
it.
on through, but with the
Yeah,
smokes,
this
it is going to be
This attack
difficult.
is actually quite easy if you have Monty up, because Monty can just walk in through the double door and then plant very safely in behind the counter. For BDS, they just need to try and double up and use their utility, and that would be, you know, their C4s. They have an Oryx, which you never know. There might be an Oryx play coming in. But a lot of pressure is going to be down to Bride. If he falls, then it just opens up the doorway. However, once again, Cruelty losing out on that opening pick. Another one for Solotov. What's Pyrox doing? What is he doing?
Solotov there, deadly on that roam.
Wow.
Shaiko, he's joining the party as well. Bride, he dismantles the Monty and picks up the final kill. Cold as ice. I love the pocket mute jammer from Bride there. As soon as he heard the Dokkaebi call start to come through, places the mute jammer down, and he can just sit behind that bomb chassis for free the entire time. Solotov, a real effective flank there in through archives. I was sort of counting the BDS players, and I was thinking, like, right, we've got Shaiko there, we've got Users there, we've got Bride there, and then you're thinking, where's Leaky Fact? Where's Solotov? Because they're the danger men. They're the ones that you know are going to be on some long-winded flank, whether they're going to start coming up blue stairs or they're just going to rotate themselves through main lobby. And for Cruelty, it was a very one-dimensional approach. I commented on it at the time. It was very direct. It was copy window and it was electric. Didn't have much going on elsewhere. I think they did have somebody out on rappel, but that was maybe upstairs inside of stock. Realistically, if you're allowing players to rotate all the way through main like that, you're always going to be susceptible to a flank.
If you see an open area defense, you should not be surprised that somebody will be in archives and tellers. That is obviously clinical, that you need to try and maintain the control on that room, because that has the big doorway and the window that looks right in towards square. And that push again is fine. You open up the quad wall, you have the Monty walk in. It's very difficult to defend that, especially if utility is burned out or baited out. So I just think Cruelty, they just didn't win their gunfights. That's now what it's coming down to. I think the structure looks fine. It's just they're not putting the men in the right position to get the kills. Look, you know, Pyrox just jumped down from square. Should have probably killed Solotov, but he whiffed a few shots. So does Solotov. But Solotov ends up, you know, whiffing less.
Drone up and running.
That's never good if you're relying on the old whiffing less strategy. There's a bit of a lack of information as well, I think, for Cruelty. Solotov as the roamer in that position, he isn't to know really what's going on. He's just there to try and play his life and be reactive. But as the attackers, you've got those drones, you need to be making the most of them. But already, we've only seen 55 seconds gone.
Oh my.
There's 4 drones left. 3 kills come through out of nowhere like that. It's just, it's men against boys. It was a flawless round there for BDS.
I think men against boys is an insult, Ollie. It's not even that. What are they, like, what are Cruelty doing? What are they doing? They've just tried to go, right, let's rush, and they've all went in one by one and just died one by one. I don't get it. I mean, look, all credit to BDS. They can only play what's in front of them. But right now, Cruelty just don't have a clue. And this was the worry about going to bank. You need to know how to play this map. It's not an easy map to play.
It requires a lot of coordination, and especially on the attack. It really does. You've got to be on your game. It needs those very
and you need good pacing.
Comprehensive
I always think you need
pushes
good
coming
pacing
through.
for bank as well. Like, how many times do we see teams just
You do need
struggle
good
with the
pacing.
time?
It is. It's all about the time, and it's all about positioning. You've got to have the right people in the right spot at the right time to do the right job. Sounds quite easy on paper, but when you come up against a team like BDS, they're just going to make it look like the most difficult thing in the world because they will be everywhere. I don't think we're in a timeout at the minute.
Cruelty.
I think it's
Okay.
technical more than tactical. There's a lot of discussion with league ops, and no one's really yapping, so that would indicate that we are in a technical timeout. Players, of course, can't talk inside of a technical. It is just to get things fixed, but they can talk in a tactical. Those headsets look quite funky, don't they? They've got like the middle, you know, it's not like the flat piece on the top.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
see
a
that.
hinge
Yeah.
on the top of the headset. Very trendy. Now we look like we're in a
This
tactical.
looks more like it. Maybe just an issue of like getting the tactical timeout and then had to get, I don't know, sorting stuff out. But I mean, BDS at the moment, just you see them winning the rounds. It's just very calm, isn't it? And again, it's a team that can go absolutely mental if the time calls for it. Being a WEFAC can be bouncing off the walls. But at the moment, BDS, it just feels as though they know it's just getting the job done, isn't it? It's just business as usual.
Yeah, and that's what they're here to do. I don't think that BDS are going to be too concerned with what they've seen so far. And with for Cruelty, you look at it and you think, well, is one timeout enough, Demo? I feel like we've blinked and we've missed rounds here. It's been just systematic from BDS.
Stuflex, if you're Stuflex, you just whenever it comes to that timeout that just happened, he shouldn't even. He just be, yeah, guys, keep going. You know, there's not a single thing that BDS are doing wrong. You know, he should just let the team just keep playing how they're doing. And I think Stuflex as well. He's the kind of coach where he's there if they need him. You know, but for the most part, he'll just let the boys crack on.
Yeah, I don't think that he's, you know, I think he's there for vibes, and I think he's there for a little bit of, you know, a little bit of
good man
coordination.
management, yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the strategy comes from Leaky Fac, and I think a lot of the sort of strategy comes from within the team. And
So,
Stuflex is there
Solopov's
to
a very
make sure that
smart player
everyone's comfortable
in terms of making strats. He's very smart. That's one. I think it's not talked about enough. Because he has some really good ideas, you know, and I think you kind of need almost the kind of entries ideas as well. Whenever it goes into making strats, I think a lot of teams will look at entries and think, oh, it's mostly like the hard support will make strats, but I think having a very vocal entry player who can also sit there and say, I think we should do this, I think we should do that, because I'll run into this problem. You know, I think it's great to have that good mix.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You gotta see it from different points of view. That's a bit of a shame there. Little mistakes like that will start to cost you, because you look at what you've got to get through here. Now, a Brava would be fantastic in this situation. You've got the Maestro Evil cameras that you can hack, so you're going to get quite a bit of value out of that. You've got to make sure that you're able to get them into position. Something we've not spoke of yet, Demo. It's the elephant in the room. The Caveira.
I mean, the Caveira and also the site. I mean, we had the choice, obviously, to go back down to the basement, but BDS have thought, nah, let's do the full rotation, and then went for the fourth choice bomb site, which is going to be your archives and tellers. The biggest issue with this is if teams take from above and they use the verticality, there is no safe position that you can sit in the site. So you almost have to play it with, you know, handcuffed right from the get-go, because you have to try and play a retake strategy, which isn't always the easiest. But BDS, they're a team we know can play that retake strategy. They are very comfortable in that playstyle. I mean, Shaiko is just dancing with death beneath the floorboards and finally says, okay, maybe it's time to get out, but then just takes up another position and really risking it all here. Actually, Ivan has been down for the floorboards. I believe that's from the Maestro, who almost covered for Shaiko as he rotated away. But for Cruelty, I mean, they've done good work at clearing away the bomb site. You know, everyone ran out for BDS is over towards open area. It's just a case of, can they stop those flanks from happening? You see the gridlock as well is going to be used to cover off the flanks. You'd hope so, but my main concern is how are they actually getting into the site, though? Because there's no hatches or anything to go into. You have to walk through a doorway.
That's the other thing. They've got control of the flanks. They've got control of the vertical. But what they can't do is just walk through doors, because that's just going to cause problems. So there's still work to do here 30 seconds left on the clock. Gonna see a down
my.
come through. Finished off there. Leaky Fact not going for the interrogation. Instead, gonna go for that long flank. And this is what happens when you start walking through doors. You're just gonna fall one by one. Pyrox is gonna be able to grab himself one onto Shaiko. You can look through the vert all you like. You're gonna get goo-mined into oblivion. Down and a finish there for Leaky Fact. Again, a desperate drop over the top rope in Swear. Nice kill on to Brede, but that's all it was ever going to be. BDS looking ever more comfortable.
The way Shaiko just picked his time in there, didn't he? Moved back into sight at the perfect moment whenever everyone was rotating, setting up for the final push into the site. One big issue I immediately see is that hatch was closed. That hatch in towards the small office should always be opened if you're hacking this site. And the reason why is, like I said, if teams are going to be playing that vertical strategy, which they always do, there's nowhere safe that defenders can actually play in the site. So then they have to go to open area. If you open up that hatch, that will deny any rotation coming back into archives and tellers. And the fact that he didn't have that hatch open almost just allows Shaiko to walk back in because of that. If that hatch is open, Shaiko will not be playing in that room. He will be forced even deeper into open area. So that was the issue for Cruelty. One little thing with not opening up a hatch allows that retake to come in. And Shaiko, you give him an inch, he'll take a mile. We know that. That's been there since day one. Cruelty are just missing little things right now.
10 seconds to go.
4 rounds in a row for BDS. Back down to the basement. A full rotation here on Bank. I had to double check that they did do a full rotation because it was round number 3, which was just gone in an instant. But they did defend that top floor, albeit for only about 40 seconds, I think, until the round was fully over. Now they're going to go back down to the basement. Slightly different strategy here. They played the cap can in round number 1. They were looking at a little bit more of a roam game, a bit of an early pick and run. This time, they are setting up shop. They're bringing just about everything that you can to try and defend this site. We've got the Vulcan canisters. We've got Cade. We've also got a Clash. We've no mute this time. But that isn't going to slow down, or isn't going to weaken, really, the BDS defenses here. You really want to be looking toward that Cade for the hatches to try and gain that little bit of extra control. Now, we do have Thatcher. So EMPs are going to be aplenty, and not just the pocket ones, so a decent radius, a good chance at catching those Cade electroflows.
Look at the kills right now as well, Ollie. I don't think I've ever seen that. 4 players yet to get a kill after 4 rounds? I mean, at this stage, it's sod the strats. Get the kills. Like that, obviously, as much as we talk about Siege, tactical masterclass of a game. What's one thing you can do? And oh yeah, shoot a gun. If you can't do that, there's no point. No point playing.
You get the feeling that Cruelty are just in the doubt in themselves phase, though, because BDS are all on site right now. And look at the time. There's a minute 15 left on the clock. And, yeah, they're getting in and starting to do a bit, but look at what they've got to try and go through. The shock drone is going to sneak its way through. It will pick up one, but still going to be other Vulcan canisters there that need to be dealt with. Through the hatch and eventually picked back up. A nice little trade there comes through. So certainly not all lost for Cruelty, especially when you think that that's the smoke that's been taken out. But Brede, you can start to now try and flick these cameras. And Leaky Fact, still a bit of a problem to be dealt with. Trying to keep him safe from both sides. There was a player on the hatch, and Ivan can capitalize on it. This is much better from Cruelty. They've just got to be cautious that they use this next 30 seconds well. They've got themselves into a decent enough spot, still at a man disadvantage, but they're going to pick up one onto Shaiko, immediately traded out there. Ivan, 3 kills on the round. Now for Solotov, he has to clutch this one up. The plant, that's going to start to go down. Solotov, he's got a good visual there and can get a good bit of damage on. Needs to deal with the hatch player. The plant now will be confirmed. Draws for the pistol. It was almost a moment, but finished off from the hatch. And Cruelty, they pick up the first round.
Not enough information. Had no idea where that diffuser was going down. It was right beside him. The C4 could have just been tossed from deep and it would have got the planter and the round would have been locked out. He just didn't know. He thought the player was just planting right beside where he downed that Capital, but it wasn't the case. I mean, Ivan, wait till you see this replay. He gets one, and then he literally drops pancake flops and just one-taps Jesus. I mean, little things like that as well will just single-handedly win you the round, and that's what we talk about with the gun aspect. You know, we've seen teams who strategically aren't very good, but they have some of the best, you know, fraggers in the world, and they, you know, some of those fraggers will single-handedly carry a team to victory.
Cruelty, a good time for them to pick up a round. They were desperate for it, but it isn't going to be a clean half from BDS. And Cruelty can maybe look to try and build off that, pick up a little bit of confidence. They've got themselves around now. They just need to get a couple of kills onto a couple of players
5 seconds to go.
and start winning a few more gunfights. But considering the problems that BDS threw at them there, I think Cruelty dealt with it very well. There was a lot of time sink in there. There was a lot of stuff to try and slow Cruelty down. And we commented that they only had about 1 minute and 20 by the time that they'd confidently got into the building, even though there was nobody roaming whatsoever. But they were still able to operate in that time and get a little bit of something done. Shaiko, however, isn't going to allow Dante to pick himself up a kill yet in this match, because he's going to be taking out first blood. Amaru, you just worry, don't you?
I mean,
You just see an Amaru on a 0 and 5
where
player
has
and you
he
just worry.
went from? I mean, he's 0-6 right now. One more, and then we get him signed up for a special club. And we'll get his tuxedo ready before him in the mail.
Calling them up.
Yeah, not a good start. Right from the get-go. For Cruelty, again, I mean, we've said this a lot this game so far, although it's not a good start because they've just been losing that opening engagement every single time. Wall is going to be opened up. That's a great little Kiba tech there, isn't it, Ollie? Just leaves enough that you can just place it on just a little bit of the wall that's left, and oh dear. I mean, what do you say about that?
Bride with the swing, but Ivan, he responds with 2 of his own. Leveled up now and about half the round remaining. Got some players in some key positions right now. There is a little bit of utility left on Cruelty's side as well, but Solotov is eventually going to shut Ivan down. Ivan, the only player with a pulse, it seems, at the moment on this Cruelty roster, is Bride. Takes down Pyros. In position to pick up more as well. You know, this last player's out there on the rappel, and it really is only a matter of time. Hello? The wall was open. Leaky back. He is going to collect a very nice, easy kill there, just taking out the kneecaps. BDS 5-1 on their defensive phase.
A great demonstration of Azami in that top floor. Extremely strong. I really do. I mean,
I reckon that's coming to a demo ranked
I'm
game
on the Castle
soon.
EC for this strat. That's my role. But Castle Azami, very util heavy lineup you kind of have to bring from an attacker standpoint to counter that. So you have to bring in operators like your Sophia, like your Ash, for example, and you limit yourself in other areas that you'd like to bring. So yeah, and again, obviously it's kind of demonstrate if you don't bring enough operators, then stuff like that's going to happen. You know, you just keep on placing these Azami barriers. It just disables the window play, which, as we know, is a massive element to winning that top floor attack, is how well the attackers can play that rappel game. And if you're just being denied the sight lines and the angles that you'd want to kind of establish, you're going to struggle a lot attacking that.
10 seconds left.
Swapping mags.
Right then, Cruelty, show us what you've got on the defense. This is their opportunity.
Attacker's objective is to locate
Bank,
a bomb and
great map for the defenders. Equally, a good map for coordinated attacking-sided teams. And I would put BDS in that category. We're already seeing a couple of new additions into both lineups this time. We've got a Flores. Don't believe we saw Cruelty play a Flores, but fantastic utility. Those Rotero drones to destroy and explode Vulcan canisters, deployable shields, whatever it might be. We've also got the Fenrir. Now, Fenrir has seen a bit of a Bit of a rework demo, I think, since last time that we had Fenrir in competitive play. I don't think the rework was active at Manchester,
you
was
say
it?
rework, I say massive nerf. That's the way I view it, because at the moment for Fenrir, yeah, limited quite a lot. Only, you know, the 2 traps that he can activate, of course, now, and the fact that all of them are just going to be shot immediately, they're no longer bulletproof, is always a bit of an issue. But again, Fenrir still seeing a little bit of play here. First time we've actually, I think, seen Cruelty with that opening pick. Usually been BDS just leading from the charge. And losing an important operator like the Dokkaebi, and another one goes down. The same way that Cruelty really struggled with controlling that open area from a roam game. It's happened to BDS here. They are now struggling with a roam game, and that's one entry dead, and obviously the lurker of Eek back on. So you're looking towards Shaiko now to see if he can try and do something where his teammates could not.
Pretty bad drone work there from BDS as well. I think Brede was on the drone inside of open and maybe just didn't have the drone in the right place, or was just flicking onto it. The real lack of info. Shaiko knows that there's going to be somebody playing on those stairs. Brede going to go for a little bit more of a direct approach here, but might struggle to get the wall open, in all honesty. If all he's got is the exothermic, it could very easily get shot off. Rotero drone could do it. Shaiko is going to use his last one on the Vulcan shield, so realistically it's exothermic or bust here. All depends on if Shaiko can provide a sufficient amount of cover. Warden's glasses, they're going to get activated. And keep a keen eye on that hatch drop. Another flash is going to go in there. The wall will be open now. Shaiko taken down by Ivan. Ivan heating up over the course of the last couple of rounds, really getting himself on. But what a nice kill there from Brede. Can he give himself this pocket of safety to get the plant down? Just needs to wait for that fire to dissipate. He's got a little bit of time here. And with no C4 in the hands of Cruelty, there's a chance, but there's just not going to be sufficient cover. He's got so many different angles to watch right now. Brede goes for the fake, picks him up, but Dante collects the final 2. Down to the pistol there to finish off Usus, but gets the job done.
Very similar rounds being played out in terms of how the first defenses went for both teams. On the attacking side for BDS, again, losing the first 2 opening picks, can't control open area, is obviously a big blunder. But both teams have not pressured Garage at all. Which is that because they lost the opening engagements and they don't have that extra man to rotate around. But Garage, for me, is a vital area that you need to control if you want to win that basement.
I think it was the battle for open really that sealed the deal on that round, wasn't it? BDS losing 2 bodies. How often do you see BDS go down 2 men in the opening engagement? Typically they're the ones getting the opening picks, or at least getting it back as a trade. Nobody on copy window. You know, you could dig quite deep into that opening and really start to figure out some key problems, but that's the job for afterwards. Cruelty, on the flip side, did a good job of a loose hold, didn't they? They didn't have too much utility up there. They just had a couple of bodies. It was very reminiscent of BDS's round 1, to be fair. Cruelty now going to take us upstairs. Not sure how I feel about top floor as a second choice site. It does seem that open area has certainly become a little bit more popular as that second choice, and the top floor will be reserved for a 3rd pick at best.
We do see a bit of an entryway into our 2 new recruits that were added in, of course, Ollie, during our last update. We see our defender counterpart this time is going to be Sentry, of course. And I think the big thing about Sentry in terms of how he plays in defense, more so than I would say for the attackers and what they have with Striker, is you're always going to be looking at kind of bringing this operator if you want to maybe try and go for a bit of a denial kind of strategy, because you're always going to have that C4 plus something else. It could be a C4 and 2 impact, for example. That's usually the way I see him be played. This time they have opted for a shield. But I usually, see this more as a kind of roaming operator where you can bring in the double, kind of impact and C4 combination. What a great swing there from Roby, just to take down Solvov off the windows.
Fantastic. No mirror window, no problem. Mirror windows have been dealt with really quickly there by Leaky Fack. And Solotov was trying to challenge onto it quite rightfully because he thought, well, I've got the advantage here. Robbie hits him with a decent swing there. Still in good positions right now, Cruelty, to try and hold on to this. And BDS, again, just looking a little bit on the back foot. 3Day is going to try and walk himself up Spiral and just waiting for the drone to get ahead of him and just double check that that coast is clear. We can see that there's a player just hiding out inside a CEO. Brede should be able to get the read on that. There are a couple of lines of sight open here that he does need to be cautious of, though. Doesn't want to expose himself too much to those lines. Does see a player crossing there on the side of square, but where's the man on his shoulder? Where's the person to take advantage of this info?
Time is now becoming a bit of an issue here for BDS. 45 seconds left to play with, and I just don't think they have enough kills on the board to really make this work. Everyone's still alive for Cruelty. See if Brede can do something special with that shield, of course, and Monty be extremely strong in this current meta where you can just push up and not having to fear about anything, and then quickly switching where you can just run at somebody. And here comes the kills. This is what BDS needed, is the pressure from these different angles. I like that drop in from Shaiko there on towards the marble stairs and just covers that area in towards meeting. However, Shaiko has got a little bit ahead of himself here, and a kill has came out. Another one being traded back and forth, and Rovi is the last player standing upstairs, but his teammate is downstairs below. Has almost left him in a 1v1 against users, and he wins it out. But now he has to go up against the Solus, but he has no time to do so. And Cruelty will win it on time.
BDS there falling foul of the clock. Not something that we're used to seeing. They're usually very good with managing that time and setting that pace. I think a lot of it comes down to the opening pick that Rovi got, you know. He was able to take Solotov out from the windows. That then forces a player to pick up that position because you can't not have somebody on those windows. And then all of a sudden you see how that slows the Monty down in turn. And the player that needs to be playing with the Monty is all of a sudden having to switch off and do a different job. Is the butterfly effect of that opening pick, and Cruelty there. Starting to pick up a couple of rounds here, Demo. They got one on the attack. They've had a couple on the defense now. We're still yet to see BDS with an attacking round win here on Bank.
Yeah, BDS, not looking too hot where we just fought after the first 3 rounds. Yeah, this is easy. Quickest game of our lives, Ollie, but not the case. Cruelty really digging in here. BDS, this is what I mean. This is very reminiscent of moments that I seen during the major, where it wasn't quite right. There was something off about them, and it just feels like that here today. Is it a case of maybe they're overconfident? Have they got ahead of themselves, perhaps? A lot of different things we could look at, but at the moment, let's focus on Cruelty, because they've hung in there. It could have been very easy for this team just to roll over and just give BDS the win 7-0. No, they've fought back now, and they have a very good chunk of momentum going in now to round number 9. And if they get this next round, Ollie, oh, that's where the fun begins.
It really is. It becomes very doable there, and if they're able to complete a rotation, then that's going to give them even more confidence. BDS needs to be on their A game here for this attack into open area. They're going to be bringing the 0. They're going to be bringing the Ram. A lot of focus on that vert and a bit of focus on that information as well. Likewise, that information focus is mirrored on the side of Cruelty. They have the pulse. I'm going to be using that heartbeat scanner down in the basement. You can get so much information here on this map. Players rappelling up the side of the building or making those moves on floors above you. A heartbeat scanner is going to be fantastic for calling that out and just deciding where you need to place yourself. Another opening engagement here. There's going to be a 50-50, and Dante comes away with the kill. We're watching the POV there of the Azami, and it was just Dante from out of nowhere onto Shaiko. BDS, they're constantly taking these battles that are just 50-50s. And is it that they've got the confidence that they're just going to win them outright? Because they're not trying to manufacture these situations into their favor at the moment.
And EFAC has got himself into a really nice position. He's been able to see that, yeah, Archives and Tellers has been reinforced and we can go straight in. Great drone work there from Solotov. Spots out a pulse downstairs in the basement. So I wonder what the approach is going to be from BDS. Will they chase that pulse or will they just let him be? I mean, we see the zero cam's been put up in towards Blue, so he will know if he's going to be rotating up the staircase. But right now, it's just a struggle for BDS to really try and get into the site. They have the hatches open, of course, but dropping in towards that open area hatch, Ollie, it is difficult. There's going to be a lot of guns and a lot of C4s ready for you as you make that approach, and Bride is looking to eye up, but as we know, an Azami behind that bomb chassis, Ollie, it's a nigh impossible position to get rid of if you just don't have any nades to try and get rid of it. Oh, the Magnum almost works out, but somehow Bride is into the perfect position where you can try and get that plant down. Solotov also deep in towards open area corner. The Pulse needs to try and move right now, but he's going to be stuck right on the beepers, and he goes for the swing, but Solotov is ready for him. The last player, do they know that he's rotating in towards square? Now they do as they expose themselves from Bride with a swing. BDS, how have they gotten away with that? Blink and you miss it.
It's a Solotov round. Sometimes BDS, as you mentioned, Demo, they're a little bit of a moments team. Solotov and Bride, always a good duo to watch. And Solotov going to come away with the cover on the plant there. Bride doing the hard work, picking up a kill and getting the plant down. But Solotov there, just that, you know, cool, calm and collected. Able to get himself into the right position. And again, off the back of an opening engagement that went Cruelty's way, we've still not seen BDS with success here on that opening pick on the attack. But they do manage to pick up a round, and it is just going to knock Cruelty a little bit, and it extends that lead just a touch more. 6-3 starts to feel quite good now for BDS. Cruelty do have a chance to go down to the basement, but it's not like they've got two. It's not like they've got a full 3 sites that they've already previously won that they know that they can rely on. They're going to have to do something that they haven't done yet. They're going to have to win a different site. They did win downstairs in the basement, so they may be able to level this up to 6-4 now. But I would expect BDS to be a lot more thorough on that roam clear this time. It was the roam clear that hurt them last time. It was that soft hole inside of open area. I would expect them to take that a lot more seriously.
Well, BDS, you've managed to find yourself a lifeline, because that has almost broke the deadlock for them, Ollie. Giving them the first round in 3 rounds now. We'll see if BDS can keep it moving and see if they can just close it out here. 7-3, again, still a decent scoreline, as we know, for BDS, but just given the context of how they started out the game, you would have thought that they would just, you know, finish it like that. But certainly BDS, they haven't looked as good as what we hoped for, Ollie. As what maybe it should have been, you know, with the expectations from this side.
I mean, let's set expectations. It's
I get
game
that,
1.
but this is a team that's won it back-to-back.
It's
your
early
major
days.
finalist, a team which is just so stacked. You know, they should... I'm sorry, but if you have that reputation, that is the expectations you're going to get. Like, that's the way I'm always going to look at it.
I'd like to, I'm trying to cast my mind back to how they started.
If you give G2 grief,
year.
I'm giving grief to everyone else.
Electrosensor active.
Listen, BDS is still here. Still very firmly in with a chance of winning this game. They're on match point, for goodness sake, Demo.
I know.
Can they get that opening pick, though? Or at least can they trade it? It's not been great. Cruelty, been a bit of a nuisance. It looks like they are going to maintain that here, as they've really done quite a lot to slow BDS down right now. Only a minute left on the clock, and there it goes. Leaky Fag, he's going to fall with it. Those stun grenades and the skeleton key on the book. Another kill coming in onto Shaiko. Again, doesn't look good. It's going to be down to a moment, and you look toward those 3 players, Bride, Users, and Solotov. Can they get something done here? Bride, he's going to start to try and attempt to plant. Where's the C4? Where's the denial? The swing comes through, and the cover isn't there. The DMR is brutal to try and have to cover that. He's able to put a couple of shots down, but nothing really connects. He will be able to revive Breeday and use us. He's going to be out there chasing shadows on that top floor. Finds himself a pick, though. And more importantly, has to drop and collect his teammates. Gets a good couple of shots of damage in onto the Warden. Throws the stun. It's a Warden, for goodness sake. If he's got his goggles, you're toast. Got to try and pick someone up here. There's no time. It's a calamity.
Oh, what a Pavlova from BDS.
What a mess.
I mean, look. It's one of them where the round just starts off bad and it just gets gradually worse as it goes on. Like, it really did.
No, you could just hear the clown music getting louder. The clown music was just getting louder and louder.
I mean, BDS, again, they have struggled with that opening pick. Like, whenever EFAC just walked in through beepers in main stairs, did they not drone for him? Did they not know that somebody was there? Or was it a case of EFAC knew he was there and he's ego challenged? Again, that's one thing we're not going to know because we don't have the comms, but that's the question that needs to be asked. Did he get misdroned or did EFAC ego challenge? Both, either which way, it's not good.
Still, match point for BDS, but Cruelty, they are starting to
5 seconds left.
slowly but surely grab hold of this fixture.
Attackers must
It's really been a bit of a slog for them up until this point. If they win this round, then the pressure really starts to mount. They were successful last time they defended up here. Played a mirror window, and the mirror window got destroyed, I think, very easily by the shock drone. But that in itself almost gave Cruelty the first kill because Solotov was trying to challenge onto the mirror and wasn't expecting Robbie to be playing in front of that mirror window. Got caught in a really nice little off position there. Now the mirror window is going to be played again. I think Robbie's just going to hold it in his pocket for a couple of moments until the time is right. He's not sure on what exactly the attacker lineup is. Obviously, we can see that there is going to be no Twitch drone this time. Instead, it is just going to be those Ash rounds that you're going to have to be careful of.
Good Echo Cam as well. Almost playing the role as the Valkyrie in this aspect. Gives that cover over towards lobby. Again, it's an area that you would see the Monty come in from. A lot of the time, Monty can just walk up spiral with very little things to worry about because he just can't get shot from behind in that aspect. However, the Echo Camera, as I mentioned, Ollie, very swiftly being almost counterplayed by the own cameras being brought in by BDS with the Zero, an operator that, again, we don't see all too often, but certainly on Bank is where we would see him the most. EFAC, did he hear that vault, though? Does he know about the player right beside him? It's going to be the sentry down here. I wonder if sentry knows as well. This is a tense one. It always is whenever it's a kind of will they, won't they situation. Do they, don't they situation.
The drone comes through now, so EFAC is going to know. And is going to collect the kill. Much better from BDS, and you could see LeakyFat was really taking his time with that one, waiting for the drone to come through. He had a hunch that something wasn't quite right. They were successful in that opening pick for the first time here on the attack. Breeday just going to be bashing down that Kiba barricade. We'll take a few points of damage, but they should be able to push up and aggress onto this space right now. Got the mirror trapped here inside of Janitors, so surely someone can try and take a bit of advantage of this. Going to drop the shield, go for the bash. Easy as you like for Breeday. Loves a little bit of action here on the Monty. LeakyFat, he's going to pick up another as well. And look at how terrifying this is. Breeday, he can just run him down. Uses, he's going to collect the final kill, and BDS are going to take it there for Bank. Finally getting it over the line. Scoreline of 6-4. You get that feeling it dragged out a little bit